Chapter 801, Big to Small, Suppressing the Demonic Cultivators. As it turned out, in the Taichou battlefield, after Fang Yuan and the others left, Dongfang Changfan gradually controlled his internal danger. The situation was turning around for him. He was an old schemer. After Fang Yuan left, he realized this problem. He immediately guessed that the three mysterious black-robed Gu immortals were going to attack his base. But he had made arrangements in Jade Pool Blessed Land. He was not worried. Instead, he was glad that these demonic path Gu immortals were splitting up. He could deal with unfettered scholar more easily this way. But soon, he was shocked to find out that he had lost his connection with Thatched Hut. This shock was no small matter. Thatched Hut was Dongfang Changfan's biggest treasure. It was heavily guarded by Dongfang Changfan's arrangements. Even against a rank 8 Gu immortal, it could hold on for a while. How could it lose its connection to him in such a short time without any warning? Dongfang Changfan immediately changed his plans. He gave up on the Taichou battlefield, flying towards his base to salvage the situation. Unfettered Scholar saw that Dongfang Changfan was escaping. He had to chase after him relentlessly. Dongfang Changfan had not told old Lord Kenyang the final critical steps yet. Thus the latter also followed him, fighting as they traveled. The two sides flew as they engaged. In a huge aerial battle, the battlefield quickly shifted. After spending a lot of time, they reached Jade Pool Blessed Land. Thatched Hut was missing. Jade Pool Blessed Land was broken open. As a hole appeared connecting to the outside world. Seeing the demonic path Gu immortals scavenging for resources openly, Dongfang Changfan was extremely furious. He next saw the enslavement path Gu immortal, Xie Shermin, using his unique method to capture Dongfang, tribe's Gu masters. Dongfang Changfan was so angry, countless star thoughts were flying out of his head, causing the hat on his head to fall off. He was truly fuming. You demonic path scoundrels are truly unforgivable. Dongfang Changfan pointed his finger, disregarding the huge amount of immortal essence expenditure. He used his trump card killer move, Myriad Star Fireflies. He Lulan and the others were still attacking Captivating Sea. They saw the countless starlight specks, starlight filling the sky like snow. It was extremely beautiful. Such a beautiful sight, instead made everyone on alert. They quickly stopped their previous actions as they changed their attacks, flying into the sky and attacking Dongfang Changfan. The current situation was very different from the circumstances in Taiqiu.in the Taichou battlefield. The band of demonic path Gu immortals were competing intensely for a wisdom path inheritance. But Dongfang Changfan had used possession. The wisdom path inheritance would only be in his mind. There was little hope of them taking the inheritance. But now, the huge Jade Pool Blessed Land had countless resources that were openly available to everyone. They could seize anything they wanted. With such huge profits here, as long as they killed Dongfang Changfan, they could continue looting the place. The band of demonic path Gu immortals stopped fighting amongst themselves and worked. Together, they were extremely excited and acted like a united group. The demonic path Gu immortals attacked together. Dongfang Changfan's expression became very ugly. He felt his pressure intensifying as he shielded himself from all directions. He was at a disadvantage. Kill him, and the entirety of Jade Pool Blessed Land would be ours. Half Moon Brutemaster shouted. Other than this Jade Pool Blessed Land, there is still old scoundrel Dongfang's Wisdom Path inheritance. That is the #1 Wisdom Path inheritance in Northern Plains. Peacock Flying Immortal Hirua said with shining eyes. I can give up even the Wisdom Path inheritance. What I want is his possession method. Pai Shuihan's expression was cold as he attacked unceasingly. After Dongfang Changfan retreated several times, he finally stabilized his situation after getting help from old Lord Kenyang. Being suppressed like this, the anger in him was reaching an extreme. After getting some time to rest, he smiled in spite of his anger. I will make sure all of you die here. Saying so, an intense tremor occurred in Jade Pool Blessed Land. The heavens shook and the earth trembled. The demonic path Gu immortals realized that all of their mortal killer moves lost much of their effectiveness. Dongfang Changfan was Dongfang, tribe's first supreme elder for so many years. He held a large amount of control over Jade Pool Blessed Land. Even though the Blessed Land was publicly owned by the tribe, and he could not manipulate it entirely, He had enough authority to use Jade Pool Blessed Land to repel these demonic path Gu immortals. Jade Pool Blessed Land was Dongfang tribe's headquarters. Dongfang Chong Fan had an advantage when he fought here. That it was only that the thieves came in when the owner was not around. The demonic path Gu immortals' attacks weakened, but Dongfang Chong Fan did not continue to engage them. He flew down towards a certain gap in space. He directly flew down into captivating sea, breaking the illusion and seeing that the sea of peach trees was in a pathetic state. The peach wolf group had mostly been killed until 2 or 3 were left. Some wolf corpses had yet to be taken away. They were lying down near the peach trees. It was a miserable sight. Dongfang Chong Fan looked upon this, feeling his heart bleeding. Many years of exhausting efforts had gone down the drain. He suppressed his pain as he shouted, "Brother Feng, I protected your tribe for hundreds of years. We have an agreement to look after one another. I have never oppressed or harmed you. Now that my tribe is at a point of crisis, I need your help." Dongfang Chong Fan's voice reverberated in the air. A few breaths later, a sharp voice resounded in the air, answering, "That is only natural." After this was said, everyone saw a jade-green light emerging from captivating sea, landing in Dongfang Yuliang's hands. The jade-green light faded, and a small mountain could be seen. It was Minuscule Mountain. This is Minuscule Mountain. Many demons were extremely excited. Pai Shui Han, He Lu Lan, and some others had tense expressions. Listening to the words exchanged between Dongfang Chong Fan and the Mini-Man Gu Immortal, it appeared that Minuscule Mountain was not actually owned by Dongfang tribe. Instead, the Mini-Man tribe and Dongfang tribe had come to an agreement. They were allies to be able to become Dongfang tribe's ally. The Mini-Man tribe should have corresponding foundation and power, with Minuscule Mountain in his hands. Dongfang Chong Fan laughed. His sharp gaze swept through the band of demonic cultivators. He had no hesitation. His inner fury was urging him to take revenge. "Today is the day you all die." Dongfang Chong Fan held Minuscule Mountain as he moved his fingers, manipulating myriad star fireflies to attack the demonic path immortals. Countless starlight specks moved. It was like a huge blue wave. His sleeves were fluttering in the air, as if he was a transcendent being among men. His aura surged as it made the demonic cultivators feel fear. Fading heavenly flower, 1,000 disintegrations. Ice dragon lock. Strength path, giant hand. The rank 7 battle strength experts attacked at once. 4 immortal killer moves were aimed at Dongfang Chong Fan. Mortal killer moves were unusable already. Only immortal killer moves had any useful effect. Final afterglow. Old Lord Kenyang muttered inwardly. He reinforced both him and Dongfang Chong Fan before waving his sleeve and shooting out the life-chasing fire. The life-chasing fire went after Unfettered Scholar, who was the biggest threat. He was forced to retreat as he lost his attacking position. Unfettered Scholar bellowed angrily. This had already happened many times. Life-chasing fire always forced him to use 1,000 disintegrations on himself to cancel out the attack. Dongfang Chong Fan had been struggling at death's doors many times already, but he refused to die. After 1,000 disintegrations was diverted, the remaining Ice Dragon, Strength Path, Giant Hand, and Heavenly Flower was still going after Dongfang Chong Fan. Dongfang Chong Fan raised Minuscule Mountain up high. The closer the demonic path Gu Immortal's killer moves approached Minuscule Mountain, the weaker they became. In the end, the Ice Dragon turned into an ice snake. The Strength Path Giant Hand shrank to less than 1% of its original size, and the Heavenly Flower faded and wilted. When these attacks finally reached Dongfang Chong Fan, he waved his sleeves and blocked them easily. Immortal killer move, big to small. Pai Shuihan's expression was cold. He found out the enemy's method immediately. It turned out that the Mini-Man race Gu Immortal with the surname Feng in Minuscule Mountain was a Rule Path Gu Immortal. He had the Rule Path Immortal Gu Small. He led the Mini-Man tribe and made an alliance with Dongfang tribe to obtain space for his tribe to live. At this point, when he made his move, he used an extraordinary method and suppressed the demon's surge of power. All of the demons frowned. He Lu Lan was already feeling regret. If she knew that Minuscule Mountain would be so strong, she would not have gone all in. Many demons attacked captivating sea forcefully. Even though they defeated the Peach Wolf group, that was not enough for Minuscule Mountain to use that killer move. This is somewhat troublesome. To solve this problem, we will have to rely on you, Unfettered Scholar. Pai Shui Han turned back, talking to Unfettered Scholar. Unfettered Scholar snorted coldly. At this crucial moment, who else can be relied upon but me? Pai Shui Han's eyelids trembled, but he did not rebuke him. Unfettered Scholar was also a Rule Path Gu Immortal. He had the Rule Path Immortal Gu Disintegrate. He similarly had the Immortal Killer move 1,000 disintegrations to counter Rule Path with Rule Path was the most effective option that at once. The demons battled Dong Fang Chong Fan, Old Lord Kenyang, and the Mini-Man Gu Immortal with Unfettered Scholar at the lead. The demons attacked one by one, trying to provide an opportunity for Unfettered Scholar. Unfettered Scholar grabbed onto the opportunity and used 1,000 disintegrations on Minuscule Mountain. 1,000 disintegrations was used against Big to Small, but it was countered by the latter. Your Rule Path Immortal Gu is only rank 6. My Small Gu is rank 7. How can you beat me? The Mini-Man Gu Immortal's laughter could be heard coming from Minuscule Mountain. It was smug and arrogant. Unfettered Scholar's expression was grim. He could not refute it. His foundation was weaker compared to the Mini-Man tribe. The situation was becoming worse for the demonic path side. Dong Fang Chong Fan had Minuscule Mountain. He also had Old Lord Kenyang watching out for him. He was in an impregnable position. As the killer move, Myriad Star Fireflies, became stronger, his battle strength would surge with it. Eventually, it would end in a victory for him. He would defeat the band of demons and return to the world of Northern Plains Gu Immortals with a domineering display. The demons thought hard, but they had no way to counter Big to Small. The only tactic left for them was to attack forcefully, using their advantage in numbers to drain all of the enemy's immortal essence. But demonic path Gu Immortals were loners. They usually only considered their own interests. They did not want to expend too much of their own resources. It was not worth it. Just as they were worrying, the demonic path Gu Immortal Zhou Ping shouted angrily. Damn it, my literature carps were taken away. The demons looked over following the voice and saw that at the periphery of the battlefield, Fang Yuan, who was above a deep pool, was drawing the water into his own immortal aperture. Seeing this, even He Lu Lan transmitted a message to Fang Yuan in fury. Fang Yuan, what are you doing? The demons were fighting a tough battle. In the end, they realized that someone was stealing resources while they were occupied. This was like a situation where everyone was in a boat, paddling and moving forward. In the end, one of their companions decided to start fishing and even caught a big fat fish, keeping it for himself. Chapter 802, Looting Persistently, Internal Strife. You, how can you be so selfish? Unfettered Scholar pointed at Fang Yuan, chiding. My literature carps, my fish group. Zhou Ping screamed angrily. We are here fighting desperately, but you are taking benefits in the background? Taking advantage of us? Pai Shui Han's eyes were flashing with a cold light. His tone was chilly. My group of literature carps, return them to me. Zhou Ping roared, mixed with a tone of sobbing. The urgent matter now is to kill Dong Fang Chong Fan. By then, won't we have everything? Fairy Li Shan's transmitted. Her tone also had a hint of accusation in it. Damn it, return my fish group. I demand justice. Zhou Ping was so regretful his eyes turned red. If he knew this, he might as well have destroyed the fish group. He spent so much precious time trying to get this resource, yet now it landed in someone else's hands, and it felt like he was only safe keeping it. Shut up. Otherwise, I'm going to thrash some people. Fang Yuan was very ruthless, his tone was arrogant, and he did not make any form of explanation or denial. You. Zhou Ping was so angry his eyes were opened wide and staring. He almost spat out blood. Fang Yuan laughed loudly. He had to act ruthless, to not allow these demonic path Gu Immortals to take an inch and demand a mile. This could protect his interests. Pai Shui Han, Unfettered Scholar, and the others were gritting their teeth in anger, but they could not attack. Fang Yuan had rank 7 battle strength. If they really fought, he still had 2 companions. It's nothing much if it's only that rank 6. Black-robed Gu Immortal, but this rank 7 is likely to be Fairy Li Shan from Snowy Mountain. Fairy Li Shan had once made an agreement with Dong Fang tribe. She could not harm them. Now that she is involving herself in this matter, it's no wonder her appearance and identity are concealed. Once she attacked, there would be many flaws. Fairy Li Shan's identity was already revealed to Unfettered Scholar and Pai Shui Han. Even though they found out, Pai Shui Han and Unfettered Scholar did not dare to attack her. Because Fairy Li Shan was a member of Snowy Mountain, she was a subordinate of the rank 8 Gu Immortal, Old Ancestor Shuihu. Old Ancestor Shuihu wanted to refine fortune rivaling Heaven Gu. This was known to everyone. But to refine a rank 8 Immortal Gu, the investment was massive. Perhaps right now, Fairy Li Shan was here due to orders from Old Ancestor Shuihu to loot Dongfang tribe's resources. This would be the will of a rank 8 expert. Fang Yuan naturally knew Unfettered Scholar and Pai Shui Han's mindsets. He was using Fairy Li Shan's reputation now to deter the demons, so that he could take the literature carps for himself. But just as he was about to continue saying arrogant words and deepen everyone's impression, Dongfang Changfan suddenly lost control. Again, Dongfang Yikong's face turned ruthless. He looked at Fang Yuan with eyes that could shoot out fire. His voice turned into Dongfang Yikong's. He screamed at Fang Yuan, "Scoundrel, you dare to take my literature carps away. I was only storing them here temporarily. You dare to take them? Do you know how much effort I had put in to obtain this group of literature carps? I want you to die like a dog." While he roared, he flew towards Fang Yuan. Everyone stared blankly at this. Earlier, Dongfang Changfan had appeared normal for a very long time. Everyone thought that he had regained control and succeeded in his possession. Nobody expected this to happen. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with brilliance. He quickly reacted. His 6-strength path giant hands flew over while his body retreated backwards. He grabbed onto the opportunity, but he was vigilant. What if the enemy was only acting and was purposely exposing a weakness? What if this was a trap? But the truth was, this was no trap. Dongfang Changfan regained control of the body very quickly. His expression turned dark. To think that he had lost control again, man. Proposes, God disposes. He had made ample preparations. These demonic Pathgu immortals were not his match. Even old Lord Qin Yang was his helpless tool that was being made use of all along. But the strength of the heavenly tribulation was beyond his expectations. Earlier, he was only suppressing the wills of the 8 Gu immortals forcefully. He had not gotten rid of them yet. Now that the literature carps were taken by Fang Yuan, an intense external stimulus awakened the rage in Dongfang Kong's will. He burst through the suppression and emerged. The wills of these 8 Gu immortals were not the biggest issue. The problem was that due to their support, the original will of this body had been gathering strength. It was becoming quite formidable. Although Dongfang Yu Yang's soul was destroyed, the fragments of his soul was scattered in his body, turning into will, thought, will, emotion. Within these divisions there weren't individual qualitative differences. Differences were shown from quantity. Dongfang Yu Liang's will had already accumulated to become similar to the other 8 Gu immortals. The most key danger was that this body was originally his. If his will burst out, the threat was many times that of the other Gu immortals of Dongfang tribe. Dongfang Changfan sighed deeply. He raised minuscule mountain up and used the big to small immortal killer move to weaken the 6-strength path giant hands. Before breaking them apart, Fang Yuan shouted from afar, "What are you waiting for? The enemy is already separated. Why aren't you killing them now?" The other demonic Pathgu immortals all had rich battle experience. How could they miss such an opportunity? Right as Fang Yuan was still shouting, Pai Shui Han, Unfettered Scholar, and the others had already attacked, while Divine Lord Tian Du, Shi Ho, Lu Qingming, and He Ruo came over and encircled the area, sealing any escape routes that Dongfang Changfan could take. At this point, the demons already had some basic teamwork. They could cooperate to execute simple tactics. Even though these were just basics, it gave Dongfang Changfan huge pressure. Old Lord Qin Yang was angered to a boiling point. He did not expect Dongfang Changfan to lose control again. Originally, he was fighting together with Dongfang Changfan. They were close together and could take care of each other. Now that Dongfang Changfan had charged out alone, he was surrounded by the demonic path immortals, while Qin Yang himself was blocked outside. Dongfang Changfan, what is going on with you? At the same time, minuscule mountain was shaking. The questioning of the mini-man Gu immortal could be heard. The alarming change earlier had scared him. Don't worry. Dongfang Changfan fought against the enemies around him as he answered plainly. You sure are calm. Don't you see how many people are encircling you? The mini-man Gu immortal was going crazy. Hang in there. Old Lord Qin Yang was anxious. He fought his way in as he attempted to join up with Dongfang Changfan again. I will stop him. Fairy Li Shan emerged, obstructing Old Lord Qin Yang. Fairy Li Shan had once made an agreement with Dong Fang Changfan. She was using a special technique now to suppress the agreement's backlash. Despite this, during the battle earlier, she was focusing essentially all of her attacks on Old Lord Qin Yang. The battle intensified all of a sudden. The demonic path party wanted to take advantage of the mistake to eliminate Dong Fang Changfan. As long as Dong Fang Changfan was dead, the blessed land would have no one controlling it. The demonic pathgu immortals would not be restricted. Even if Old Lord Qin Yang and Minuscule Mountain were around, they could not change the result. Dong Fang Changfan's side was trying their best. As long as he joined up with Old Lord Qin Yang, they would regain their former advantage. During such an intense battle, Fang Yuan was at the periphery of the battlefield, looting the resources of the deep pools. Fang Yuan's actions made all of the demonic pathgu immortals furious. They accused him while shouting loudly. Fang Yuan, however, gave his reasoning. What do you guys know? This is a battle tactic. I am trying to trigger the Gu immortal wills that were suppressed in his body to make old scoundrel Dong Fang commit a mistake. Wasn't the current advantage that we gained due to me? Quickly coordinate with me. Do not judge the heart of a gentleman with the heart of a small man. After Unfettered Scholar heard this, his handsome face distorted with anger. Pai Shui Han's heart was filled with the flames of rage. He felt that at this moment, he was not an ice and water pathgu immortal. Instead, he was cultivating fire path. But what Fang Yuan said was true. They had no way to rebuke him. Divine Lord Tian Du expressed everyone's thoughts. Why is it that we are all fighting here while you are out there gaining profits? The mini-man Gu immortal from Minuscule Mountain also yelled. What do you mean, judge the heart of a gentleman with the heart of a small man? This is discrimination against our mini-man race. I will make you pay the price. Zhou Ping's eyes turned. He said, this battle tactic makes sense. Let me coordinate. Saying this, he left his position in the battlefield and flew down towards a deep pool. Pai Shui Han roared in anger. Get the hell back. Unfettered Scholar was breathing roughly. He activated 1,000 disintegrations, aiming it at Zhou Ping. Zhou Ping shouted in pain. He suffered a heavy blow. He almost fell to the ground. This could not be allowed. Defeat and victory were thinly separated. If everyone went to get profits, who would be left to kill Dong Fang Changfan? Unfettered Scholar shouted coldly. Now is a crucial moment. If anyone tries to leave without reason, even if the enemy is in front of us, I will kill you. He no longer had the gentlemanly air from earlier. He started using abusive language. Zhou Ping, why aren't you back in battle yet? Do you want me to send you off? Pai Shui Han said coldly, threatening. Zhou Ping lowered his head. He had an expression of anger and hatred, but he had no choice but to return. Fang Yuan could not kill him, but that did not mean other rank 7 battle strength Gu immortals could not. The other demonic path Gu immortals saw this and suppressed their greed. They felt glad, and also indignant. Why was it that Fang Yuan could scavenge resources while they could not? Because of battle strength. Fang Yuan had rank 7 battle strength. Unfettered Scholar and Pai Shui Han, even if they wanted to, had neither the capability nor time to punish him. But for the other rank 6 Gu immortals, if they dared to mess around so openly, did they think these rank 7s could be toyed with? Gu immortals who made it this far were all astute figures, but to mess around with others, one had to see if they had the ability to do so. But even Fairy Li Shan could not stand to let this continue. She loudly spoke at Fang Yuan with a cold snort. Number 7, come back now, we'll fight together. Fang Yuan was slightly stunned. He could not help but let out a laugh. Earlier, he was scheming against the others, but at the next moment, his ally actually slightly schemed against him. Even though he, Heilu Lan and Fairy Li Shan had signed the Snowy Mountain Alliance, in which nobody had command over others in the alliance. But right now, they had to act in front of everyone. Earlier, to show that they had a deep background, they put up a show and deterred the demons. Right now, he could not ruin that background they created. He had to continue acting. Over at Fairy Li Shan's side, her circumstances were quite bad. She fought using wood path, but Old Lord Qin Yang was a fire path Gu immortal. Be it fighting techniques or methods, Fairy Li Shan was heavily countered. Chapter 803 Band of Demons Repels Righteous Immortals. Fang Yuan came to help. He worked together with Fairy Li Shan, obstructing Old Lord Qin Yang. Fang Yuan was an immortal zombie. He was not afraid of life-chasing fire. But even so, the Strength Path Phantom Army in his immortal aperture was taking serious damage from the fire. After fighting for a while, Fang Yuan felt heartache inwardly. When he used the Strength Path giant hands, they did not use much immortal essence. That was because the strength path giant hands were formed using countless group strength goo along with the strength path phantoms. It was the manifestation of their strength that I in essence. Each strength path giant hand was made from tens of thousands of strength path phantoms. The strength path phantoms were created using his immortal essence a while ago. They were stored in his immortal aperture. But now the life-chasing fire went after their origin, burning the strength path phantoms directly. By now, the strength path phantom army that Fang Yuan had accumulated had been mostly destroyed. If he summoned more now, he would need to expend huge amounts of green grape immortal essence. If this goes on, the expenditure is too great. This will not do. Fairy, block him for now. I have a plan. After fighting for some time, Fang Yuan suddenly transmitted while retreating. Fairy Lishan heard this and felt a strong urge to curse at him. At this point in the battle, he was still thinking about immortal essence expenditure. She had already gone all out regarding that. She did not even dare to think about the amount of immortal essence she had expended. When they attacked Captivating Sea, in order to fight against time, she used several immortal killer moves. Now that she was fighting with Old Lord Kenyang, her expenditure was even greater. Fang Yuan was still thinking about immortal essence expenditure now. It was obvious he had obtained the most profits. Seeing that Fang Yuan was retreating, the demons had varying expressions. They were stirred. Why is he flying down again? Unfettered Scholar asked Fairy Lishan. He could confirm Fairy Lishan's true identity already. Fang Yuan did not respond to him at all. It was much more effective to ask Fairy Lishan. Fairy Lishan was inwardly angry. She fought intensely as she replied coldly. He said the immortal essence expenditure is too great if this goes on. He has a plan to execute. Still caring about immortal essence? How much did we spend already? The band of demons were furious. Some had bloodshot eyes. Some were breathing roughly. Unfettered Scholar's body was trembling. In truth, even Fairy Lishan and others had plundered some resources. In the entire demonic path gang, Unfettered Scholar was the one who put in the most work while obtaining the least. He did not even loot a single resource point. Dong Fangchang Fan felt his pressure intensifying. It was a vicious cycle. Fang Yuan's words angered the band of demons. They were venting their rage on him. At once, Dong Fangchang Fan raised minuscule mountain to defend himself. He was injured in many areas. He was in a pathetic state. The situation was getting worse. What Fang Yuan had said earlier was not a lie. He flew towards a deep pool directly. In fact, while the two sides fought intensely, they had shifted locations unintentionally. Fang Yuan realized that a deep pool below them was full of Dongfang tribesmen who were hiding. Evidently, this was an assembly point. Dongfang Changfan, I want you to see it for yourself, the pitiful death of your tribesmen. Ha ha ha. Fang Yuan's wild laughter was mixed with the slamming of his strength path giant hand. How could the methods of mortals block an immortal killer move? The barrier of light that was erected with many layers was instantly destroyed. Without even holding on for a second the moment the strength path giant hand made contact with it, the strength path giant hand slammed down. With a loud bang, the ground collapsed on itself. Many unlucky mortal goo masters were smashed into meat paste. The mortal goo masters at the periphery felt the intense wind caused by the hand. They scattered everywhere and screamed for help. They had no fighting spirit. The strength path giant hand rose into the air. A large crevice in the shape of a bloody handprint was left on the ground. My tribesmen, my kin, I will protect them. Dong Fang Changfan saw this and lost control again. His voice became high-pitched. Dong Fang Changfan saw this and knew a problem was arising, but he could not stop it. This was Dong Fang Yuliang's will, the biggest internal threat. The eyes of the demons were shining. They attacked furiously. Dong Fang Yuliang disregarded them. He flew down urgently to save everyone. Damn it! Damn it! As the danger of death approached, the mini-Mangu immortal surnamed Fang shouted out. He had to manipulate minuscule mountain, flying to the top of Dong Fang Yuliang's head, blocking attacks for him due to the agreement. Minuscule mountain shook intensely from the attack of the demons. Countless small rocks fell apart and crumbled. Dong Fang Changfan, you've caused me great harm. The mini-Mangu immortal shouted in anger and regret. Fang Yuan saw that this method was effective. He laughed loudly as he intentionally slowed down. chasing and killing the escaping Dongfang tribesmen as he attracted Dongfang Yuliang's attention. But while Dongfang Yuliang was flying in the air, he was suppressed, and Dongfang Changfan regained control once more. Dongfang Changfan realized that although he was injured, his surroundings were clear now. Only a few Gu immortals were right behind after him. There was a high chance he could break past the encirclement and join up with old Lord Kenyang, because Dongfang Yuliang had charged out without caring about life or death. Minuscule Mountain paid a huge price and took the damage in his place. Such a desperate and dangerous act had been out of everyone's expectations. It gave him a chance instead. You fools, I gave you a chance, but you're letting him escape? Fang Yuan pointed at the demons and scolded. Unfettered Scholar and the others were furious and anxious. They had no time to care about Fang Yuan. They shouted, "Chase him! Don't let him escape!" At once, the intense combat had become a battle of pursuit. Dongfang Changfan was escaping and breaking out of his encirclement. Success was in front of him, but the band of demons was doggedly on his tail. They threatened to surround him again. On another side, old Lord Kenyang was trying to reach Dongfang Changfan, but Fairy Lishan remained in his way, blocking his paths. At once, the two sides were like headless chickens. They were flying around chaotically in the air. Their flying route was completely messy, but this showed the strong foundations of the Gu immortals in flying. These Gu immortals were all at least flying masters. Mortal Gu masters did not have the time or effort to learn flying, but Gu immortals did. Flying was a very useful method for advancing or retreating. Almost all Gu immortals spent a lot of time on it, having a good grasp of this ability. Quick, kill some more Dongfang Gu masters. Make him lose control. Unfettered Scholar shouted. Fang Yuan was on it already. He used the Strength Path giant hands to grab a few Dongfang Gu masters before squeezing them to death. His methods were ruthless and savage. It had made Dongfang Changfan lose control many times. But there were limited numbers of Dongfang Gu masters, and Dongfang Changfan refused to go down. At this moment, someone shouted, "Cheshire Min." Cheshire Min captured many Dongfang tribesmen earlier. He wanted to sell them as slaves. Cheshire Min was furious. These were resources that he had spent a lot of time to gather. "Cheshire Min," Unfettered Scholar shouted while pursuing. "Make a sacrifice now. We will compensate you double after the battle." Pai Shui Han said grimly. Cheshire Min wanted to reject them, but seeing that Pai Shui Han was oozing with killing intent, he shuddered. Okay. He took out many Dongfang Gu masters from his immortal aperture, killing them in front of Dongfang Changfan. This made the remaining wills extremely furious. They came out one by one. Forget the other Dongfang Gu immortals' wills. The most crucial one was Dongfang Yuliang's will. He was still immortal at rank 5. He had a deeper bond with the tribesmen. Every time his will took control, it gave Dongfang Changfan, Minuscule Mountain, and old Lord Kenyang huge problems. As time continued to pass, Fairy Lishan could not obstruct old Lord Kenyang anymore. They successfully joined up, but the band of demons had gathered a huge advantage already from Dongfang Changfan's loss of control. Their victory was assured. Minuscule Mountain was full of cracks. Even while it flew in the air, rocks were falling off from it. Old Lord Kenyang had suffered many attacks in order to take care of Dongfang Changfan. His body was heavily injured. Even his beard was dyed red from blood. This was the most dispiriting battle he had ever had. During the battle, he had asked Dongfang Changfan the final portions of the possession method, but would Dongfang Changfan dare to tell him? Once he told him, old Lord Kenyang would flee. Dongfang tribe was only cooperating with Immortal Crane sect. The possession method was the biggest bargaining chip. Retreat, we cannot stay here. Old Lord Kenyang sighed. He transmitted this to Dongfang Changfan. As long as we live, there will always be more opportunities in the future. The Mini-Man Gu Immortal was afraid that Dongfang Changfan would continue fighting. He quickly added this. Dongfang Changfan smiled bitterly. Do you think I am someone who cannot understand the situation? We'll retreat. He gave Jade Pool Blessed Land another longing. He was inwardly filled with anger and hatred, but he had made up his mind. Temporary losses were nothing. A true champion could give things up and retreat. But right at this moment, Fang Yuan laughed. Another Dongfang tribe assembly point. Dongfang Changfan. Watch closely. I am going to slaughter them. Shameless scoundrel. You dare to bully me to this extent. Dong Fang Chong Fan was furious. He attacked with myriad star fireflies. Fang Yuan saw the imposing attack and smiled. He did not stay any longer. He evaded the attack. But this myriad star fireflies attack did not chase after him. It curved and flew down, slamming into the Dong Fang tribe assembly point. The Dong Fang tribesmen who were hiding inside were all slaughtered in an instant. Not a single person was left alive. At once. Even the demonic Path Gu immortals were shocked by Dong Fang Chong Fan's ruthlessness. Rather than let you threaten me, I would rather destroy this weakness while I am in control of this body. Brave souls of Dong Fang tribe, listen to me. I, Dong Fang Chong Fan, will exact revenge for you. The hatred and grudge of today's events, I will return them 1,000-fold to you, demonic scoundrels. Dong Fang Chong Fan's tears flowed down his cheeks. He spoke in deep pain. Hearing his anguished voice, even the daring and lawless demonic path immortals felt a chill in their hearts. If the number one person in Wisdom Path escapes and plots against me in the future, the band of demons were feeling wary. Fierce lights emerged in their eyes. They had overflowing killing intent. At this point, both sides were almost running dry. They had expended a huge amount of resources. Initially, it was just a battle for benefits. But now, they could not stop anymore. Such a deep-seated hatred was established. There was no way else to resolve this. Go. Dong Fang Chong Fan suddenly flew into the air, opening Jade Pool Blessed Land's doors and flying out. Chapter 804. Old Schemer vanishes without a trace. Chase after him. The band of demons were relentless, but Jade Pool Blessed Land's entrance closed. Only a few Gu immortals had followed outside from behind. The rest had to change their directions and fly out from the hole that was made earlier. When they flew out of Jade Pool Blessed Land, even though they could still see Dong Fang Chong Fan's figure, he was already far away in the sky. Everyone was like a meteor flying through the sky. Shrill sounds could be heard. The intense winds brushed against them. Everyone used their own movement techniques, but the distance was huge. They were already behind from the start. Eventually, their distance started widening. Fang Yuan was wearing a black robe and had 6 wings. His speed raised from time to time. It was due to the activation of Iron Crown Eagle Strength Gu. But even so, there was quite a difference compared to the others. He gradually fell behind, becoming the second wave of immortals. The first wave included Dong Fang Chong Fan, Old Lord Can, Yang, Minuscule Mountain, Unfettered Scholar, Zhou Ping, Fairy Li Shan, and Peacock Flying Immortal Hiruo. The second wave included Pai Shui Han, He Lu Lan, Fang Yuan, Lu Qing Ming, Xie Shermin, and Divine Lord Tian Du.As for Half Moon Brute Master, Zhuozhan, Shi Ho, and the others. They had been left in the dust. Their figures could not even be seen. There was no third wave at all. After flying for 15 minutes, Old Lord Can Yang sighed deeply. He transmitted to Dong Fang Chong Fan solemnly. I will block Unfettered Scholar and 2 other people for you at most. You will give me the final part of the method. Don't mess around. My patience is running out. You also know that my sect has Wisdom Path Gu immortals. With the information I already have, I can deduce the final steps. Except that I will need to spend a lot of time, effort, and funds. That is all. Dong Fang Chong Fan was quiet for a moment. He did not dare to anger Old Lord Can Yang. Otherwise, he might turn on him. He had to give him the possession method. Old Lord Can Yang got what he wanted, but he did not go back on his words. He went back to the huge battle and blocked Unfettered Scholar, Lu Qing Ming, and Peacock Flying Immortal Hiruo. Meanwhile, the other demonic path immortals chased Dong Fang Chong Fan relentlessly. After a while, Zhou Ping stopped. I am unresigned. I have 2 immortal-level movement killer moves, but at this crucial time, my immortal essence is not enough. He screamed. He felt deeply regretful. He could only watch as the immortals flew away. A while later, Divine Lord Tian Du also started to slow down. He sighed. Everyone, please fight valiantly. I am unable to go any further. If they did not kill Dong Fang Chong Fan, there would be huge problems later. Divine Lord Tian Du landed while deeply frowning. Brother Fang, I am not in a good position. Thank you for saving me even though your life was in danger. At this point, you should leave quickly. I will draw them away. A while later, Dong Fangchong Fan showed an exhausted expression as he secretly transmitted to the Mini-Mangu Immortal. The Mini-Mangu Immortal was overjoyed, but he hesitated. Are you really letting me go? But our agreement is not over yet. Dong Fangchong Fan interrupted him, throwing Minuscule Mountain out as he said, Brother Fang, say no more. All the best. Minuscule Mountain. Fairy Lishan immediately changed her direction and tried to grab at Minuscule Mountain. Minuscule Mountain shook, turning into a jade light as it flew towards the left at the same time. Dong Fangchong Fan's tired expression vanished, his speed raised by 30% as he continued to escape. The two split up, the demonic cultivators behind hesitated. But Fairy Lishan had no hesitation. She pursued Minuscule Mountain. Compared to the tough Dong Fangchong Fan, the Mini-Mangu Immortal on Minuscule Mountain was weaker, and Minuscule Mountain was more beneficial to her. Before leaving, she had sent a transmission to Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan for help. After all, it was hard for one person to catch Minuscule Mountain. If there was help, it would be far easier. He Lu Lan did not hesitate. She immediately followed after Fairy Lishan. But Fang Yuan rejected her outright. He did not stop chasing Dong Fangchong Fan. Thus, Fang Yuan, Pai Shui Han, and Xie Shimin chased after Dong Fangchong Fan, while He Lu Lan and Fairy Lishan went after Minuscule Mountain. Disregarding Fairy Lishan's side, Dong Fangchong Fan had successfully used Minuscule Mountain to lure two strong foes away. His speed was even faster now as he quickly widened the gap between him and his pursuers. Pai Shui Han was anxious. He shouted to Xie Shimin, Why? Aren't you taking out the captives? Xie Shimin's movement killer move was a chariot. It gave off the aura of immortal goo. He was sitting on the chariot, his expression grim. He had kept many of the Dong Fang tribe captives in his immortal aperture. His motive was to leave them for the end, to deal a fatal blow to Dong Fangchong Fan. But now he had no choice but to use them in advance. Old scoundrel Dong Fang, your tribesmen are in my hands. Fight us directly, you cannot escape. Xie Shimin said this as he killed one Gu master in his hand, taking out another one after that. Dong Fangchong Fan sneered and chuckled coldly. He continued to fly forward. After Xie Shimin killed the 13th captive, he finally managed to get Dong Fangchong Fan to make a mistake. The distance between him and Fang Yuan's group shortened again. But Dong Fangchong Fan quickly suppressed the threat. After regaining control of the body, he flew again and moved ahead. The two sides were in a deadlock. Their distance shrunk at times and lengthened at other times. Along the way, they met several Gu immortals. They were either in the righteous path or demonic path. Some obstructed them, some chased them, some left immediately and did not want to get involved in this messy situation. An hour later, only Dong Fangchong Fan, Fang Yuan, Pai Shui Han, and Xie Shimin were left. If I do not die from this, I will definitely reward all of you well. Dong Fangchong Fan was already quite far ahead, laughing loudly as he escaped. Fang Yuan and the others had grim expressions. These three pursuers were originally from the second wave. With their speed, they could not catch up to Dong Fangchong Fan after he raised his speed. The longer this dragged on, the greater Dong Fangchong Fan's advantage. He was gradually suppressing the internal threats in his body. Even though Xie Shimin was killing more Dong Fang tribesmen now, Dong Fangchong Fan was losing control less often than before. What do we do? Pai Shui Han, Fang Yuan, and Xie Shimin looked at each other. They saw anxiety but also anticipation in each other's eyes. Both of you, if you have any methods, please use them. Otherwise, it will be too late. Xie Shimin said. Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han shook their heads. These three were at their wits' end already. They had to treasure their precious immortal essence beads. If they had any methods left, they would have used it already. Seeing that Dong Fangchong Fan was going to get away from them, the three pursuers showed intense looks of disappointment. But at this moment, Dong Fangchong Fan lost control again. Dong Fang Yuliang's voice was screaming. His speed fell drastically. Fang Yuan and the others were overjoyed. Xie Shimin shouted. As expected, killing the captives had an effect. Quick, kill him. We can still search his soul later. Fang Yuan and the others quickly got ahead. But at this time, Dong Fangchong Fan's expression changed. He showed a smile, as if his plot had succeeded. Oh no, it's a trap. Fang Yuan quickly retreated, but it was too late to escape. He only saw a ray of starlight. It moved extremely quickly. It grazed Fang Yuan's shoulder and pierced into Xie Shimin's forehead. Xie Shimin's expression was frozen into a look of utter disbelief. The next moment, his head exploded. The chariot disassembled as he fell to the ground weakly. Be it Fang Yuan or Pai Shui Han, they were shocked and nervous. It was already so late into the battle. To think that Dong Fangchong Fan still had such a powerful trump card. He had truly unfathomable depths. If you pursue me any further, Xie Shimin can serve as an example. Dong Fangchong Fan laughed loudly, escaping again. Earlier, he lost control. That was only him acting. A trap. Xie Shimin was an enslavement path Gu immortal. He had a weaker body than normal immortals, because he was chasing fervently. He was slightly careless, but he actually got killed in one move. Chase him. He is bluffing. Pai Shui Han was stunned for a moment before reacting. Fang Yuan was also pursuing closely. After this attack, he really has nothing left. Although his tone was certain, Fang Yuan did not believe it completely inwardly. If it were other Gu immortals, that would definitely be the case. But it was Dong Fangchong Fan, this old scoundrel. This was not a certainty. After Xie Shimin died, there were no captives left to lure Dong Fangchong Fan to lose control. This was terrible news that if they stayed and looted Xie Shimin's immortal aperture and immortal Gu, then they would not make it in time. Dong Fangchong Fan would manage to escape. Honestly speaking, even though they were still chasing him, Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han did not have much hope within themselves. But quickly, there was another change. Dong Fangchong Fan's speed became slower. His speed fell by 30% compared to earlier. With this, Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han saw hope. As expected, his burst speed has its limits. Think about it. That is an immortal killer move. If he could use it for extended periods of time, he would have used it long ago. Maybe his immortal essence was used up. Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han interacted. They decided to work together for now, to leave Dong Fangchong Fan no room to escape. They were also worried that if they fought between themselves, at the crucial moment, they might end in failure. But just as they were getting closer to Dong Fangchong Fan, his body flickered as another figure appeared, turning into a second Dong Fangchong Fan. This? Fang Yuan was shocked that Pai Shui Han gasped. Oh no, I've heard long ago that Dong Fangchong Fan had a split shadow immortal Gu in his hands. To think that it was true. The two bodies had the same aura. They were identical. There was nothing that could differentiate them. They flew off in two different directions. Even though the pursuers were using investigative methods, they could not find any flaws. There was no choice. Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han could only split up that eye in the end. Not long after Fang Yuan went on his chase, Dong Fangchong Fan split out another figure and flew towards the left. Fang Yuan was joyful and also worried. This indicated that he had been chasing the right figure, but he did not expect that this old scoundrel Dong Fang could create another split shadow. Fang Yuan quickly took out some Dong Fang tribe Gu master captives in his immortal aperture, shouting in the same manner again. Dong Fangchong Fan, I will kill your tribesmen again. Fang Yuan had used his strength path giant hands earlier to attack the assembly points. He killed large numbers of Dong Fang tribesmen. But in this process, he had left a backup plan. He secretly kept a good number of the captives in his immortal aperture. But the two Dong Fangchong Fans did not pay heed to him. Fang Yuan's plan did not succeed. He could not differentiate them. He could only grit his teeth as he chose the left one randomly, pursuing it. Along the way, in just a short while, Dong Fangchong Fan created another clone and flew in two directions. Fang Yuan felt anything but reassured in his mind. What should he do now? His immortal essence was almost used up completely. The strength path giant hands could only move slowly, and ordinary mortal killer moves could not even damage Dong Fangchong Fan's clothes. Chapter 805. A short break, another battle. Unable to determine the fake, Fang Yuan could only guess and make some baseless choices. Eventually, when it was night, he watched as Dong Fangchong Fang's body gradually faded and vanished. In its place was a lump of Gu worms. Fang Yuan collected this lump of Gu worms. The split shadow immortal Gu was not inside. Instead, there were only some rank 5 Gu worms that were mixed with a heavy immortal Gu aura. I lost him. Only Pai Shui Han's end is left, but the chances are low. Most likely, Dong Fang Chong Fan escaped. Sigh. As expected of a legendary character, the leader of a super force, he has so many trump cards. The most pressing matter now is to return to Jade Pool Blessed Land and plunder the final portion of the resources. Fang Yuan swept away his emotions. He immediately flew back. Along the way, he contacted Fairy Li Shan and He Lu Lan. But they were still chasing after Minuscule Mountain. They promised him a large amount of compensation if he went to help them out. Fang Yuan fell into a difficult situation with two choices in front of him. Point one was Jade Pool Blessed Land. It was rich in resources, but such a long time had passed. The other demonic path Gu immortals might have looted it entirely already. The other was Minuscule Mountain. If he could obtain Minuscule Mountain, he inwardly felt moved. As night descended, the temperature became lower. The night sky was filled with dark clouds. The air was stuffy. A moment later, intense winds blew. It rained while accompanied by thunder and lightning. Dong Fang Chong Fan sat on the ground. His expression was white as chalk. He looked extremely pale. The body that he had just possessed was heavily injured. Some injuries were so severe that bones could be seen. His flesh and blood were exposed to the air openly. Dong Fang Chong Fan's aura was weak. He frowned deeply. To think that the possession I underwent caused such a huge and unexpected accident. Indeed, an act of defying heaven incurs the wrath of heaven and earth. Thankfully, towards the end, I gave up Minuscule Mountain and drew some of the enemies away. I also gave up Split Shadow Immortal Gu to escape successfully. At once, Dong Fang Chong Fan felt lingering fear, relief, joy, solemnness, sadness, and hatred. All of these complex emotions were mixing together. The injuries on my body are just a small matter. They are not fatal. The important thing is to get rid of the internal threat. The immortal essence I accumulated was mostly used on possession. After this battle, they have been consumed entirely. The battle of wills is my only chance at defeating these 9 wills. Dong Fang Chong Fan thought over it. He shut his eyes and entered a state of meditation. In truth, with his current terrible situation, he had no other options. He was at his wit's end. He was like a long river that had dried up until the riverbed was exposed. To be able to escape from the pursuers in this state and survive, it was truly nothing short of a miracle. Right now, if he hesitated slightly or refused to undergo the battle of wills, his control over this body would be completely lost. He might as well engage in the battle of wills now, while he still had some foundation and mental energy, by converting all of his remaining mental energy into his own will army. The battle of wills was vicious. It did not concern one's cultivation level, only the wills in themselves. But Dong Fang Chong Fan had no other method now. He had to do this. His will rose from his mind. It instantly converted all of his foundation into a huge stream. The huge stream flew out of his mind. It was like a waterfall from the 9 heavens, pouring down from above. With an immense force, it charged towards all of the other wills in the body. Fight. Let's fight together. That old scoundrel's will is stronger than any of ours. We have to cooperate. That is the only chance we have at winning. The wills of Dong Fang tribe's 8 Gu immortals, as well as Dong Fang Yu Liang's will, joined forces. They resisted Dong Fang Chong Fan's will. A total of 10 wills mixed together, fighting chaotically. Both sides had no alternatives now. If they took a step back, they would fall into the abyss of failure. Their existence would be wiped out. This, from the start, was a battle to the death. Both sides were equally matched, but a moment later, Dong Fang Chong Fan's will was at a disadvantage. While fighting with the band of demons, Dong Fang Chong Fan had only been suppressing the wills forcefully. He did not find out how troublesome they were to deal with. Only now, when they fought, he realized that these wills were tough as iron. They were as firm as steel. All of them bore deep hatred towards Dong Fang Chong Fan. Dong Fang Chong Fan, you deceived us. You betrayed us. For your own selfish desire, you killed all of us, just for your own sake. Old and scheming, we were all wrong about you. You only treated us as your pawns. If you want to kill us, don't think of surviving either. Die together, we will die together. It was you. You harmed us. You harmed the entirety of Dong Fang tribe. Right now, Jade Pool Blessed Land is being looted by the band of demons. Nothing is left of thousands of years of management from our tribe. These wills shouted. With great anguish, they formed into a tide and attacked from everywhere in the body. Dong Fang Chang Fan's will was forced back. He quickly squeezed back into the mind. The mind was Dong Fang Chang Fan's final base. Once these wills broke through it, even if Dong Fang Chang Fan's soul was intact, he would have no way of winning. Defeat was imminent. Impressive, impressive. These wills have the resolve to die. They are overwhelmed with rage due to betrayal. And most importantly, due to the heavenly tribulation's influence, they were strengthened in an unspeakable way. At this moment, Dong Fang Chang Fan could feel deep animosity from heaven and earth. He walked on a path that defied heaven. He tried to revive himself. The terrifying backlash caused him to be at death's doors again. If he took a step back, it would be the abyss of failure. But Dong Fang Chang Fan was not flustered under such crisis. In fact, the more dangerous this situation became, the more his fighting spirit was stirred. In his life, he had always gone against the norm. Ever since he started his cultivation and led his tribe to prosperity, he had overcome countless difficulties. He had endured immense pressure and defeated numerous foes. This time, my enemy is this world itself. Even if my body dies of old age and my soul shrivels, my will is never going to submit. Dong Fang Chang Fan understood. In a battle of wills, he could not feel discouraged or relaxed. He could not waver in the slightest. Not only did he not waver, he was more determined now. His fighting spirit soared as his battle strength surged in this battle of wills. This was the spirit that he had nurtured after countless trials and obstacles. He would never yield. The fighting spirit to resist until the very end was engraved into his bones. Once the counter-attack of his will began, it swept down from the mind, pushing down forcefully. The two sides were fighting using Dong Fang Yuliang's body as the battlefield. Dong Fang Yuliang's head was Dong Fang Chang Fan's headquarters. Even though he was almost forced back in by the 9 wills, right now, his will was charging down from his headquarters, down the neck, all the way to his chest. The Gu Immortals' wills became even more furious. They defended together. Like a tortoise shell, they had a strong defense at the chest, refusing to move backwards. The battle of wills went into a stalemate. The 8 Gu Immortal wills were defending Dong Fang Yuliang's will. They were like 8 thick shields protecting him. Dong Fang Yu Liang's will was growing in quantity. Out of the 10 wills, only Dong Fang Chang Fan and Dong Fang Yu Liang's wills could recover and grow. This was because the former had undergone possession. His soul was in this body and he occupied the mind. He could replenish his will from this source. The latter was the original owner of the body. The body was most compatible with him. The entire body was Dong Fang Yu Liang's base. As long as his body was not destroyed, his will could recover. The key to victory in this intense and dangerous battle of wills was in Dong Fang Yu Liang and Dong Fang Chang Fan. The wills of this pair of master and disciple. Compared to them, even though the 8 Gu Immortals' wills were strong and abundant, they had no source to replenish themselves. They knew this clearly. Thus they chose to sacrifice themselves and protect Dong Fang Yu Liang's will to allow him to grow stronger. Oh no, I purposely left the injuries on my body and did not heal them. I wanted to slow down Dong Fang Yu Liang's recovery speed. But if we continue this, my will is going to be expended continuously, while Dong Fang Yu Liang's will is recovering and growing. Thinking of this, Dong Fang Chang Fan became calmer and even colder that he knew that at this rate, he would definitely die now. He had to bet with his life, to use his will to influence the other wills and destroy them from the inside. This method was the fiercest and also the most dangerous one. But I have no choice. Then let's do it. Dong Fang Chang Fan shouted. All of his will that had been gathered together broke apart. It flowed like a river as it swallowed the other 9 wills, engulfing them. The contest of the mind, a battle of willpower. Everyone's perseverance had led to the final clash at this moment. The hatred of murder is irreconcilable. The Gu Immortals' wills shouted. My Dongfang tribe was destroyed in your hands. Dongfang Yuliang was extremely furious. Dongfang Chang Fan's will was calm. As long as I am alive, I can lead Dongfang tribe back to its glorious days. Do you think I am not anguished? Do you remember the story in The Legends of Renzu? In order to walk out of ordinary abyss, Renzu abandoned even his own daughter. How can you say he abandoned her? It was self-Gu which caused trouble. Dong Fang Yu Liang's will rebuked. Dong Fang Chong Fan sneered coldly. Whose self-gu is that? That is Ren Zhu's self-gu. Those were Ren Zhu's deepest thoughts. In order to stop being ordinary, it was not a problem if one sacrificed their wives or children, let alone merely the tribe. As a dirty and despicable person, whatever you see is dirty and despicable. The Gu Immortal's wills shouted back angrily. Enough. Without me, Dong Fang Chong Fan, Dong Fang tribe would have perished or been annexed long ago. Would you have been able to reach this point? Would Dong Fang tribe be as glorious and prosperous without me? I nurtured you all. I taught you. I gave you your achievements. I planted this tree. This was my achievement, and you. You were just sitting in the shade of my tree, eating the fruits of my labor. Such words were like thunder, dealing a huge blow to the 9 wills. The Gu Immortal's wills were in a torrential wave. They could only be swept along. All of the scenes in his life were playing in reverse. They quickly filled Dong Fang Chong Fan's mind, in Jade Pool blessed land. While engaging with the band of demons, the battle that was perilous and fatal, the heavenly tribulation and earthly calamity, his stubborn resistance, all to undergo possession at the moment of life and death, his ambition that did not waver, his vision of the sky that turned dark, deducing the location of immortal Gu for all of the righteous path Gu Immortals, establishing the alliance agreement. In a dark and gloomy hall, he sat alone as he made up his mind to defy heaven. He sneered. Even if you prevent me from obtaining lifespan Gu, so what? If heaven wants me to die, then I will defy heaven.